Welcome, everyone. I had this set up differently, and I was thinking to myself, wow, it's so nice that everything's lining up and is going to work here. But let me just double check and see if I can fix this one particular thing. Nope. How's everyone doing? If you want to just put a 1 in the comments to let me know if you can hear everything okay, that'd be great. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to start by taking a moment to just cleanse our space together. I always like to burn some Palo Santo before I make any recordings or share these practices with all of you. And so I'm just going to share that with all of you as well in this. And the interesting thing about Palo Santo is that it is only harvested from fallen trees. So they don't actually cut down trees to create this or to share it with others. So that's one of the beautiful things about it. We're here to talk about the Sankalpa tonight. And I'll also be guiding you through a short meditation that is going to help you connect deeper with your own Sankalpa. And I see that about half of you that have participated in the poll that I have said that you have a primary Sankalpa that you are working with. So this is good. That means half of us are feeling connected with our Sankalpa. And for the rest of us, we might be still navigating the waters of what it is that we are truly wanting to call into our practice. Now, I'm just going to dive into a bit more of what a Sankalpa is, and then I want to discuss a little bit around how you can call in your Sankalpa or connect deeper to it. And if you would like to have just a little bit of ambient sound in the background, I have this playlist that I created on Spotify. So if you want to, you can turn that on. I have not based this around that. It's just nice to have a little bit of music in the background if you feel called to have that. So I've added the link there if you want to also have that in your practice and how we connect this evening. So the Sankalpa. The Sankalpa is one of the main features of a Yoga Nidra practice in the sense that we use it at the beginning of our Yoga Nidra and we use it at the end of the Yoga Nidra. All of what we say, what we speak, creates a vibration. When I create these Yoga Nidras, I am looking at the audio and it's this rise and fall of the sound, the canter of the voice, and all of this. And so when we speak to ourselves, when we speak to others, we're creating a vibration. And there's even been studies done where they can see the influence that how we speak in our lives can affect the things that are around us. So when we are working with the practice of Yoga Nidra, not only are we receiving deep rest through this stillness and this practice of moving through the layers of our being, we're also allowing for ourselves to create space to allow the vibration of our words, of our intention, to resonate into the whole practice. And the more that we do these forms of meditation, yoga nidra, hypnotherapy, any modality that involves intention, we are creating stronger neural pathways within the mind so that what once was a thought can become a feeling, a sensation that we can start to see in the outer world. So the Sankalpa is very important in this practice. And I would say that without the Sankalpa, it isn't Yoga Nidra. It's a body scan. So it's important to really open yourself up to what your Sankalpa may be. Now, not all of us will be so lucky as to just know immediately what our Sankalpa is. So it could be that we want to call it in and we may be changing it periodically. So we have something that is called the primary Sankalpa. The primary Sankalpa is something that is going to be very heart-centered, that aligns with us and is going to connect to our intuitive nature. An affirmation is something that we desire, that we ask for, and maybe on more of a superficial level. And so it's going to be really something that you want to make that is for your primary Sankalpa, something that is short, that is concise, and perhaps an I am statement. Now, what I've worked with or understood as all of you are coming from different places. You know, you have different languages, you have different ways of expressing yourselves. And in this practice, my primary language being English, this starts as an I am statement. And what I've learned with working people from around the world is that in some cases, there can be even just a particular word that represents so much meaning to you and can align you. So the intent is more so that even despite whatever language you may speak or background you may come from, this is something that does work with with yourself. So as long as that is a part of that essence, it's going to have a more profound resonance for you because you're calling it in for yourself. Because as you experience the shift internally, you become a mirror and can reflect that into the world, and what people will see is your Sankalpa. I was talking to someone about this today, and this may not resonate with everyone, but imagine if you haven't had this experience, that is, that you fall in love with someone, you meet them and you just know that this is like the person that you want to spend the rest of your days with. It's this feeling of alignment, or perhaps there's some purpose that you have that you're doing where there's just no question about it. It's profound. It almost doesn't even make sense in a logical way because it's not supposed to be logical. Your Sankalpa isn't something you think of. It is something that is experienced. So if you feel as though you're unsure if your Sankalpa is right for you, it could be that you need to open yourself up a little bit more into the heart space so that you can receive what is the most true with you. I'm not saying that whatever your Sankalpa isn't right for you, because only you will know what is right and what feels aligned as your Sankalpa. And the reason I say make it short, if you're using something that's longer, you may find that it doesn't leave a lot of opportunity to expand into different directions, because the Sankalpa is like almost like singular in a sense. For example, my experience has been that through the darkness of cancer, I found that by focusing so much on death, by focusing so much on the end, which is also a beautiful way to meditate, but not something to remain stuck on or planted in, I was able to see that as long as I continued to view that I was dying, that I wasn't truly alive, and it came as a profound experience that I am alive. It's funny to say a profound experience to realize you're alive, because of obviously I'm here talking to all of you. But once that Sankalpa came into play, it was I'm alive with abundance. I am alive with love. I am alive with courage. I am alive with humility, or whatever it may be that I was calling into the experience. These are secondary Sankalpas. The primary Sankalpa is the one that's going to be like a tuning fork, that when you hear it, it's almost like you can feel a vibration through the center of your body. And in some practices, we call this the chakras, the energetic centers that are moving through the center point of the body and expand outward and draw our energy inward also. So you'll know when you discover your Sankalpa, because it will feel aligned. And maybe that's even it. I am aligned. I am aligned with abundance. I am alive with success. I am alive with love, whatever it may be for you. And because it is the winter solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, this is considered to be one of the longest nights, the longest periods of darkness throughout the year. So if you think of Yoga Nidra, you're practicing with your eyes closed, and you're moving your awareness inward through pratyahara, which is allowing for the external hum of life to align with the internal world. You're dropping into the theta, alpha theta brainwave state. And this is when you're the most susceptible to changing your neural pathways. So aligning yourself with something that feels true, that resonates with you, that is coming from a place of centric love and heartfelt desire, then you're allowing for that vibration of these words to create a new frequency for you to experience yourself. So once we move past using Yoga Nidra as a sleep aid, and we start using it also as a way to guide our lives, then you'll start to notice a really profound shifts and changes, because now the lens that you see life from is tuned to who you are. So I want to check in and see if this is resonating with any of you. If you're discovering that you might have any questions, I've never used this option before, but I'll put start a Q&A. So I'll ask. Okay. Questions. I would love to know some of your questions. Let's see if this works. I've never done it. So just some questions that you might have about your Sankalpa. And it's okay if you don't have any questions. I'll just carry on to the meditation portion if that's the case. But it would be good to see if there was anything that you have been curious about or wondering about, to see if it's possible that I might have something that might give you insight. I don't want to say I have the answers because I am still a student of discovering more about this, but let me know if you have any questions. And I'm checking in here. I am in complete control of behavior at all times. We do have this. This is the one thing that we do have control over, which is how we respond to the environment that is around us. And with Yoga Nidra, being in this non-reactive state for the duration of the practice, allowing yourself to resist the urge to scratch or to touch your nose or adjust your hair or your clothing. This is really you harnessing the power of being present with yourself. And the more, again, that you practice this, the more that it becomes more of a response than a reaction in your daily life. My Sankalpa has been my greatest wish for 14 years. Optimal health. And I'll share a little bit of that also, is when you are focusing on health, because I'm very familiar with this. I, at one point, had my Sankalpa as I am healthy. And it worked for some time with me, but it ended up not being my primary Sankalpa because of the fact that I felt a resistance with it, that I actually didn't feel healthy. And so it didn't feel like it was in alignment with me because I was so ill at the time. And I'm only sharing this experience. There's no wrong Sankalpa. It's always just down to how you feel aligned. And for myself, I realized that I wasn't aligning with it fully, but there was so much growth that came from it. When you think about relationships, and it could be a romantic relationship, a business relationship, a friendship, you learn over time what works for you and what doesn't, and how you navigate and work through a relationship as well. And the Sankalpa can be very much like that at the beginning. You may work with Sankalpas that feel like they attune with you when you first start out. And then a couple years later, you feel as though you move on to something that just resonates more deeply. And for me, that was the health one. I realized that I actually got more stress from it than I did actually feel aligned with it. And that's when the aliveness thing came into play, because I am alive with health. And it encouraged me to move away from the idea that I wasn't healthy and focus on the parts of myself that were. And the overall well-being is just so beautiful to see yourself as whole. That's what I imagine when you think of a well of being, your well-being. I choose authenticity. I love this. I choose authenticity. This works also. And another way you can also put this to is I am authentic. I am authentic with my choices. I am authentic with my love. I am authentic with whatever it may be. And also choosing authenticity, the choice to choose it. This is present tense, and that's also amazing. So when you're making a Sankalpa, you want it to be present tense, because how the subconscious mind works, the program of it, is that it doesn't have a placement of the past or the future. It only is in this moment. So when you create it, make sure that you're not saying, I am loved. It is, I am love. If it is something that also is hard for you to accept, like for instance, when I said I am healthy and it wasn't aligning, I changed it to I am open to health. I am open to being healthy. And that worked for some time. And then I graduated on to I am alive. If a person hasn't received a strong message regarding their Sankalpa, is it okay to set an intention with a feeling that is current? Yes, Jeff, absolutely. If you haven't had your Sankalpa arise for you yet, then this is going to be a really nice practice for you tonight, because what we're doing is, even if you have a Sankalpa that you're working with, what we're moving towards is opening up ourselves to either feeling more aligned with what we're currently using, or opening up our mind and our heart to allowing the Sankalpa to come in. And that was another thing I wanted to talk about, which is that the Sankalpa, when you call it in, if you're lucky, it might just come to you and you'll know, because it'll already feel like something that you feel very centered about. For instance, I have a friend that's totally magnetic. She walks into the room, everybody looks at her. She has a conversation, you're engaged. You want to hear everything she has to say. And you can just tell by the way that she presents herself that she's a magnetic person. So without a doubt, I am magnetic is something that aligns with her. And you can magnetize whatever it is that you desire into your life through that. So when I make these practices for all of you, I always drop in a couple of examples, because it's not something to stress about. It's not something that you need to worry about, because the truth is you already are that. But once you tap into it and accept it and remember it, that is when it becomes really potent. And if we reach for things, if we're trying to attain something, then it's not going to be as, let's say, wholesome as if you just allow for it to come in. And that's the point of the meditation this evening, is to, thanks, King's Mom, I just saw your comment, is just so through this meditation, we're going to open ourselves up to allow a remembrance. Because what's really happened is that what our Sankalpa is has always been there, and we've forgotten it because of maybe something traumatic that's happened in our lives, perhaps conditioning based on whether it's society, whether it is generational, based on our upbringing, the culture that we've grown up in, perhaps systems that have been in place through spirituality, through religion, through work ethic, everything. We're so influenced by our environment. And so what do you do when you can't change your environment? You can start to see things differently. That's why some people, even after being put in a penitentiary or a prison, they still experience enlightenment. They can still experience harmony within themselves, because the prison that really exists is within our mind. And it's the conditions that we place on our mind that make the environment around us seem so harsh. So when we're able to fall out of this mindset of being a victim to what is going on around us, then we really open ourselves up to see things differently. And yeah, as someone who's been practicing this for a while, I feel like through sharing it all with you, this channel, it's really allowed for me to align more with my practice, and the encouragement that you've all shared with me through your own experiences, through doing this practice, through the rest that you've been receiving. I can't thank you enough for the comments that you leave, for the messages you send. And it really has been a gift to share the practice with all of you, and an honor to hear how it's being received. So thank you. And I don't really know if this question thing worked, but I'm going to end. It didn't show me a list of questions, so I apologize if you left any questions in that, because I'd never used that option before and I didn't see any. So I'm going to go ahead and get you all set up here for a meditation that we're going to do. And at the end, you'll have the option to journal about the experience, about what comes up. So don't feel as though you have to hang on to whatever arises through this practice. And while you're getting yourself prepared for meditation, you do have the option to lay down, because with Yoga Nidra, I find that laying down is, don't worry, Paul, you're not a little late. We're about to start the Sankalpa meditation. I wanted to spend the first part of this practice just kind of talking about discovering your Sankalpa, and now we're going to do a meditation to help open yourself up to it. So if you're just joining us now, you can either lay down as you would for Yoga Nidra, with your spine in alignment and your arms naturally by your sides. And then allow for your legs to be comfortably apart so that your hips can soften. And since we're doing this out of, yes, I'll leave this on a little bit longer. I'll leave this available to you. So you'll want to have your hands in, having your palms open. This is going to help you come into a space of receiving. So if you're lying in Shavasana, your hands are open. And if you're sitting in a seated meditation, I'll get you to just place your hands onto your knees with your palms open. And this is going to help center yourself into a state of receiving. So bring your spine up nice and tall if you're seated. And you're going to feel as though the tips of your ears are reaching up towards the ceiling. This is going to help elongate the back of the neck. And naturally, we'll just draw the chin downward a little bit more towards the sternum. From here, we're going to begin by taking 2 physiological sighs, so that we're allowing for our body to hear from ourselves that we're entering into a safe space within ourselves. So take a deep inhale through the nose. A quicker, sharper inhale. And exhale out through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Quicker, sharper inhale. exhale through the mouth. And just as you enter into this meditation for yourself, take a moment to recognize where you sense your center. Perhaps it's at the heart space. Perhaps it's at the navel, somewhere centric within the body. Perhaps it's the throat, or maybe the space, the clearing between the brows. Discover where you feel the most centered in your body. And then begin to place your awareness onto your breath, connecting your inhale and exhale to the most centric, aligned part of your body. And as you breathe, feel as though this place within yourself expands with your inhale and contracts with your exhale. And just to ensure that you feel totally connected with your breathing, really notice that as you inhale, that the belly expands. And as you exhale, the navel draws towards the spine. And once you feel that connection, connect back to this centric part of yourself. Feeling the orb of awareness of your most aligned and centered self expanding and contracting with your breath. Perhaps this is the same centric spot or it is another, but bring your awareness now to the clearing between the brows. And if your centric space is already the clearing between the brows, just continue flowing your awareness in and out with your breath, feeling an expansion of this space as you inhale and a contraction as you exhale. And if it is another location, sense that there is a string, a rope, a tether that connects these two spaces. And as you inhale to this centric part of yourself, feel the expansion and the rise of that awareness towards the third eye. And as you exhale, feel that it moves back down from the third eye to this centric part of yourself. And in some cases, this may be the crown of your head, so the awareness rises up and then back down to the third eye. And now allow for, on your next exhale, to release this centric part of yourself And on the next inhale, that the awareness draws all the way into this third eye space, connecting you to your most intuitive nature. Opening your awareness to see and experience within the present moment the vision of who you are becoming through this practice of Yoga Nidra, or as you enter into the practice of Yoga Nidra. Who is it that you are becoming? And rather than thinking about who you are becoming, create a spaciousness to envision who are you becoming. Envision the face of yourself, your body, and then begin to observe the environment that will foster who you are becoming. As if you are looking into a mirror, and the reflection that you see is who you are becoming. And now begin to notice that as you observe this embodied version of yourself, notice any sensations that may arise in your body. Notice the felt sense of who you are becoming. How does it feel in your hands, in your arms, in the center of your chest, in your throat, on your face, on your head, around the ears? How does it feel to become yourself into your torso, into your hips, and your legs, and your feet? And begin to notice if there's a particular part of yourself that may be rejecting or pushing away this experience of becoming. And if you do not have this sensation, allow yourself to embrace the wholeness of truly experiencing and witnessing who you are becoming. And if you feel any resistance in any part of yourself, create some space now, not to judge, not to place any assumptions, but just to witness. And as if this resistance were your best friend, just open your awareness to hearing what this part of your body has to say. Allowing for yourself to cradle this part of yourself as it may have fear of the unknown. And allow all the other parts of yourself that have embraced this becoming to remind this fear, this resistance, that you are strong enough to hold space for it, that it will pass. Now bring yourself back to this centered space of awareness that you feel most connected. And observe, listen, and see if there is anything that you need to let go of in order to become who you are. Is there anything that you may be holding on to? Is there any particular story, particular character, particular part of yourself that you need to let go of in order to become who you are? Rather than intellectualizing, see if you can just allow and receive the message to come to you. If you feel as though maybe this has brought your shoulders to cave in, see if you can open your heart a little bit more. And connect again to this centric part of yourself. And now as you look into the mirror, bring the vision back to the person that you are becoming. And rather than believing that this will be some point marked down the road, allow for yourself to experience in your body how it feels to become yourself. Connect to your center, your most aligned center. And as you rest into this space, just begin to open your heart. Again, if the shoulders have caved or the spine has curled, see if you can realign yourself. Again, observing and opening yourself up to whatever may arise, not reaching, not chasing, only allowing. Now begin to release and allow for this reflection of self to begin to fade. Let it go. And rest into the resonance of your allowing. Opening your heart, your body, your mind to experiencing your most aligned self. By connecting this experience to your Sankalpa. If you are already working with a Sankalpa, you can repeat it now. And if you are still on the journey to create a connection with your Sankalpa, simply repeat, I am, 3 times. Start to feel your breath become deeper. And sense your body into the room. Feeling into your sit bones if you're seated. Into your sacrum if you are laying down. And begin to notice all the points of contact that you have onto the earth. Then begin to notice the air, how it rests on your skin. Peace, how it is placed on your face. And move your hands over towards your heart space. Placing your hands onto your heart space. Feel it beating love and life and acceptance into your whole body. You are loved just as you are. can bring your palms together, creating friction between the palms. And then place your hands onto your eyes so that the top pads of the fingers or of the palm are onto your eyebrows. You can start to make circular motions around the eyebrows. And then press your fingertips into your scalp, into the top of your head, making circular motions onto the crown of your head. Then you can start to move your fingers downward towards your temples, making circular motions onto your temples. Connecting with your breath, feel your breath deepening. And take your index fingers, pressing them along the cheekbones and outwards towards the ears. And from the ears, press along the jawline, maybe making a circular motion along the jawline or around the hinge of the jaw. And then moving your fingers along your jawline towards your chin. And then back up towards the base of the ears. And down the side of your neck, giving your shoulders a squeeze. Crossing the hands over, giving your arms a squeeze. Breathing deeply as you press into your forearms and your hands. Take your hands and press them into your hip creases. And if you're laying down, you may need to come up to seated for this. And then just squeeze a little bit of love into your legs, into your calves, all the way down towards your feet. Take a moment to settle in again. And then slowly begin to open the eyes, gazing downward, taking your time to open the eyes. Maybe let out a big sigh on your next exhale. And if you have a paper or pen, you may consider maybe writing out some of the reflections that came up during the experience. Again, remembering this isn't something you have to intellectualize, but envisioning yourself becoming who you truly want to be and allowing for yourself to experience who you are becoming in real time sends a message to your mind and your body and your heart that you are ready and open to stepping into this. And when we open our heart and align ourselves into our center and are calling in our Sankalpa, if we haven't already chosen one, then you may find that you're going to see it out in the world. It may be that you're reading a book that you love and the word pops out from the page, or that you're reading a label on something you find in the grocery store, or you look at a sign while you're at a stoplight. It will come to you when it is meant to. And by opening up your heart to this, it becomes more accessible for you to remember your most centered, and aligned heart's desire. So I hope that this, mini workshop was helpful for you. And of course, these practices are always complimentary through YouTube. If you feel as though you would like to offer some support to Yoga Nidra and beyond, you can always give thanks through YouTube or through my bio link, which you can find in the notes. I just want to thank you all so much for coming to this practice, for supporting this Yoga Nidra channel, and knowing that we're all growing and moving through this life together. As the beautiful soul Ram Dass says, we're all just walking each other home. And it is my heart's desire to remind all of you through self-awareness, through these practices, that you aren't alone. And I am just really hoping that you all can, through this journey, remember what you've forgotten, which is that you are whole. You are all whole and very loved. So through this dark night of the winter solstice, I encourage you to really plant seeds of intention. If you've got your Sankalpa, this was an opportunity to really expand it through this dark night. And if you are still wanting to align with your Sankalpa, this is a calling through this space. So the seed you are planting is to remember what it is that aligns you. So with that, I just wish you all a wonderful evening and a beautiful winter solstice. And for those of you south, a beautiful summer solstice. You are opposing this force tonight. So thank you again, everyone. I am going to sign off. Good night, everyone. Thank you for sharing the space with me. Good night. I'm glad you were able to make it, Paul. Thanks for joining, Vincent. Good night, Brett. Siobhan. Rest well, be well, everyone.